Good morning everyone, Louis here and welcome back to Acorn Hill. In today's video, I wanted to share with you a gardening project that I've been working on for the last 3 months. It's a topiary DIY. This is what I call turning something into something. Bought some rosemaries that I'm slowly forming into standard lollipop topiaries. And I hope you like this project and I hope you learn a lot from it.
I'm coming to you from my potting shed and wanted to show you two plants that I got today. I got me two 4-inch pots of rosemary that I wanted to use for a project that I've been working on. I wanted to build a small grove of rosemary topiaries. The type of herb rosemary that I got today is called BBQ Rosemary, for obvious descriptions, because this type has a single to maybe 4 or 5 stems that will grow from the crown, but this can grow into a long main trunk, reminiscent of a barbecue stick, I assume. So that's what it's called, a barbecue rosemary. Barbecue rosemaries grow 2 to 6 feet tall. 2 to 6 feet tall. Can you imagine how tall they can get coming from the ground if planted in the landscape? They require low water, of course. They tolerate drought and heat and full sun. Again, perfect for the climate and perfect for the heat conditions that we have here in North Carolina. I got 2 of them. They come in plastic 4-inch pots, and very affordable when you go to my garden guy. Today what I want to do is show you what I do to prepare this kind of plant and put it in a pot prepared for topiary training. I'm gonna get my favorite clipper here. So instead of a big secateur, what I have is this small little clipper, and coming from the base, what I want is to identify the main trunk that I will be using for a topiary. What I want is a topiary lollipop, so it's just one stem, and everything will grow and bush out right on top. So from here, it's fairly easy to identify. So let me lay that down on the table. So you have that one long stem that will go all the way up. Not only is it healthy, but you know that it's rearing to go and rearing to grow, because you have all these other branchlets coming from the node per stem. So that's a healthy plant. Groom this by using the clippers, just removing all these branchlets coming from the main cane, the main trunk of the pot. So you go all the way down there. Doesn't matter how well you do it, you just want to make sure that you're identifying where the main cane is. Be very careful so you don't clip the main cane. So far so good. No rhyme or reason, just take it out, and sometimes a leaf will directly form and grow from the trunk, and that's what you take out, and you slowly clean it off as best you could. You can always come back to this a second time, and that's when you start cleaning out the stem of the plant. Get all the dust off. I'm working right now on a potting table that I built from scratch from salvage materials back in late winter, early spring. Just made of pressure treated lumber, old ones and recycled ones, and pressure treated plywood right on top of it. This potting table has met many a North Carolina thunderstorm because it's out in the open. Still looking good. I want to give this maybe 4 years. Hopefully one day when I can actually build a good work area, then we can put this right beside a real potting shed, but that's for the future. So you see what I've done so far is coming from the pot. There's the stem, and you have that one little leaf. You gotta clean that off. Then now you get the beginnings of what would be the potential bushy growth on top of it. Now, in order for this to get bushy, the tip, let me adjust the plant here so you can see it. The tip of the plant is what you need to pinch, what's called pinching, and literally it is pinching the tip. We will continue to pinch this because this is the final height of the topiary that one wants, that I want. And what happens is it will start sending shoots, those little shootlets, all right, lateral branches coming from the node. Let me show you what a node is. You probably have a good idea already, but for demonstration, that is a node right there. Where you see these leaves coming off from the stem, that's called the node. There's another node. At every node junction, where you have the main leaf of the plant, because hormones are there ready to send and give signal to the plant to grow, then a new growth, new branch will come off of that node. What I'm trying to do right now is I still want to leave a few more. I will cut and remove 1 set of nodes, 2 set of nodes, 3 sets of nodes. And what I want is from here, allow the plant to bush out, continue to bush out. You'll imagine a big ball that it will form with the ball ending right at that 3rd node from the bottom. So I will give you an update on how that goes. Now it develops into a formal standard. I would say this is 16 inches. When I went to the nursery, look at the pot and look at the behavior of the trunk. This trunk went ahead and did a 45-degree growth. And what do you do when it comes to, getting a plant, whether it be a small rosemary like this or any plant that you want to put in the landscape? How are you going to remedy that? Well, fairly easy. I'm planning on putting this in just a basic standard pot like this. So what Louis does, let's take that tag out of the way. It'll be messy here, but you take the plant and you see how healthy the roots are. Get a pot. Instead of putting it at the same orientation the root ball was in the previous pot, I will reform the root ball. I'll reform that root ball or tease it, whatever you want to call it, and then stick. Hang on a minute. There you go. Reorient the roots. So after having teased up the roots and removing all the dirt, we will reorient the planting of the rosemary where, voila, instead of it previously planted that way, you just reorient the plant. And plants are resilient. They will find the horizon and they will find the 12 o'clock position and they will grow better this way. See that? Previously, it was placed that way in the plastic pot. Now you're replanting it and sticking it at the 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock hour position. Alright? Put in the previous soil from the root ball. And again, there's the healthy roots of the plant. Those are feeder roots that will grow and find their way around once we replant the rosemary. But tuck them all in. Tuck them all in. And then get all that soil and tamp it in there. No one would know that rosemary was growing sideways at a 45-degree angle. Because now, I'll put in more soil to this, of course, and water it thoroughly. But no one would know that it was at a 45-degree angle previously. The stem of this rosemary is curved. And when I start training it into a topiary, then we can put a long skewer and we'll start reshaping this and we'll tie it on the skewer, and that would be the form that the trunk of the rosemary will follow. So we'll put a trainer in there so we can get this to grow straight that way or that way. Healthy rosemary, healthy plant to grow and turn into a topiary. And in a couple of months I will show you how they look like. I usually keep this on the patio and get the afternoon sun for 2 to 4 weeks and allow it to grow. Alright, now you see the rosemary side by side, one in the pot. The one that I recently potted, that's the one that came up at a 45-degree angle growing from the plastic pot. Well, the one on the right is the first one that I showed you in the video where I was trimming off and pruning all the growths, the lateral growths along the side of the cane. The one on the right, right there, I've already pinched the top off. Well, you can see the one on the left, it still has that fresh tip. I'm just gonna literally pinch it off with my fingers. I also have told you earlier that we will put a trainer, a skewer, sticking into that pot, going on upward so we can train the one on the left. No matter, not a biggie. We want to make sure that the growth of both plants still maintain that organic style growth without being way too practiced and too expected, but I'm liking the way it looks. Anyway, I hope you enjoy what I just showed you, and I hope you learned something new today. That's what our channel is about, learn something new. And today, doing topiaries, forming basic herbs into topiaries, that is a good thing. Here's a gardening good tip that I wanted to share with you guys. That is removing air pockets when you put a plant in a pot. What I do right now, what I'm doing is I have a piece of wood stick that I'm using to stab the root ball along the edge of the pot. What this does is it removes any potential air pockets that could form an air chamber that could heat up and could damage by way of increased temperature the root ball of the plant. There's such a thing as root rot when the root ball is overwatered. In my experience, there's also a thing called air pockets and chambers that form increased temperatures, like little bubbles of heat that concentrate right along the root ball of the plant, and that kills it as well. So it's from one extreme to the other, and we want to avoid that second scenario, which is having some air pockets, and that's the best way for that to be minimized, if not prevented. So that's what I use, that's what I do. I wanted to share that with you guys so you know what to do when you're potting up your own plants. Hopefully that is helpful, and hopefully we learn. That's the little something new that I wanted to share with you guys. Our 3 potted up BBQ rosemary that are 2.5 feet tall, from the bottom all the way up to the tip of the plant. These are plants that I started training into topiary form 2 months ago. They are now established in the pots. As you can see, compared to the new ones that I showed you today, you can see that they're more mature looking and they're bushier on top. We will be trimming some of this later on. It still has about a month to go, but all this trimming and pruning of the stem, take a look at the number of branches on the one on the right. Sometimes when you buy the BBQ rosemary, they would really have a whole lot of trunks already formed on the top. What I did here, because this is multi-stem, I wanted to experiment where if I could just gather them together. Some growers, some gardeners would braid them up, but I was afraid of doing that for fear of breaking off the main canes of the plant. But I just gathered them up, and you can see I have twine that I used to tie it up with. They're fairly at the same height, 2.5 feet tall. We'll give you another update on these 3 along with the 2 that I planted to take. But so far things are looking good. It's not forming the bulb that we want yet, but it's getting there, and in a month we'll see what they look like.
I hope you enjoyed the topiary project video that I showed you today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. like the comments, put in your own comment on our comment section. We would really appreciate it. I hope you're having a really good day, guys. Keep yourself safe out there, and we'll see you back here in Acorn Hill. Bye for now.